Hello fellow Zelda fans, I'm Hyrule Monkey, and I'm excited to give my thoughts on some theories related to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now there are numerous theories about this game already. I spent a good portion of the week watching and rewatching some of the official trailers and had a few ideas to talk about concerning the sequel. Now some of these ideas are probably already covered by the Zelda community. There are a lot of us out there doing these videos, and we do think very similarly, so the chances of this being an original idea are slim to none. I am sure other content creators have done this already, and as I do have a pretty packed schedule, I'm sure they have videos up about it. But I just wanted to take a minute and give a little bit of my thoughts on these ideas. Throughout the last 4 years, we have known about the sequel. I, along with numerous Zelda content creators, have been avidly against the idea that Tears of the Kingdom will feature time travel in some form. Even having seen the third official trailer for the game, I was still inclined to lean that way. That was until I watched all of the trailers together in multiple different orders this week. It became clear to me that something wasn't quite matching up right. I bring your attention to this part in trailer number 3. Here we have Zelda standing on a platform next to a kind of altar. The interesting part here is that the Zelda community quickly went to work to analyze and pinpoint this location. It is now known to be right behind the Temple of Time or directly above it. This was pointed out to me by Banoon in the Zelda Tube server. That's odd, because in Breath of the Wild we know exactly what's behind the Temple of Time. 1, it's not this stone slab, and 2, it's not near this nice. This has led many to believe that this scene takes place in the past, long before the slab was buried under the years of dirt and debris. While it could have been part of the sky that descended to the land below, that doesn't explain the general fresh look of the area compared to how it is pictured in Breath of the Wild. Another point to consider is the fact that Princess Zelda appears to be holding a Master Sword in perfect condition while standing on this slab. If you will recall, in multiple of the trailers, Link is depicted holding a broken and battered version of the Master Sword. It's highly suspected that when our Princess Zelda says the line, "Link, you must find me," it's not a question of where she is to be found, but when she is in time. That's all well and good, but if she has traveled through time, how did she do it? And where in time did she go? Don't worry, my fellow fans, because I think I might have an answer, and it occurred to me around my 8th rewatch of the trailers. Let's take note that whenever Link uses the time freeze or rewind abilities, his hand, as well as the object he is acting his will upon, glows yellow. As I was watching our beloved princess fall into the chasm under Hyrule Castle, I noticed something odd. Isn't it interesting that in almost every trailer or promotional video we have seen, it has featured her fall? That signifies to me that this fall is extremely important. While looking at them all, nothing seems to stick out until you get to this most recent trailer, that is. In the third official trailer, as Link dives to reach Zelda, she sinks lower and lower into the depths of the world. But as she does so, the area around her torso and her left hand begins to glow. It's faint at first, but after looking at it, the glow becomes more clear before the shot quickly changes. It is possible that this glow was an involuntary defense mechanism from Zelda that seeped out. We know one of Zelda's powers historically has been sealing, as it appears in almost every game she's in. However, a lesser known power of hers is the ability to manipulate time. This ability occurs less frequently than her other ability, but most notably in The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. She activates the power using the Ocarina of Time to send Link back in time in a controlled manner. Using her power, she sends him back in time to an exact moment before he drew the Master Sword. But what if Zelda, in a panic, activated this power without a tool, without a conduit to control the location or time to which she was traveling, and winds up lost in time with the need for Link to come find her? Another method in which Zelda could have used to inadvertently send herself back in time is the mysterious stone she is seen holding in the third trailer. This is likely one of the many Tears of the Kingdom. I will save my speculation as to what these tears represent for a later video, but the tear Zelda holds appears to have the same symbol on it as the symbol representing Link's recall ability. Perhaps Zelda had this stone in her hand, as she can be seen clutching something as she fell. It is possible that her yellow glow is the stone activating and saving her, sending her back in time to another point entirely. I believe now that this is actually the case. Zelda sent herself uncontrollably through time, and as we know, she never really had control of her abilities. We also know from the post scene in Breath of the Wild that she could no longer hear the voice of the Master Sword and felt that her power had waned. When we put all of this information together, we get a Zelda who accidentally transported herself back in time as an involuntary reflex and doesn't have the power or skill to reverse it. But what about the sword? That's a great question. In all of this, we have yet to detail how Zelda can have the sword with her and how Link can have the sword in his possession as well. If you will recall, as Link is attacked by Malice, the Master Sword gets eroded away along with a great portion of his arm. The hero in this trailer can be seen later on holding the remnants of the blade and visited by a glowing orb of yellow light, similar to the light that emanates from Zelda as she falls. We know that in Link's present time, the sword is withered, yet Zelda is seen with a perfect version of the Master Sword. Questions that must be answered are, how does she get a perfected Master Sword, and how does it get to Link? First, let's address the ways that she could get the sword. Throughout the series, it is made abundantly clear that Zelda can in fact pick up and hold the Master Sword. She does so in the Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Breath of the Wild. It is possible that she simply draws the blade from its pedestal in the past and uses her powers to send it through time to Link in the future via that orb that appears around Link, similar to this shot here. Also note that this orb, when it appears to Link, appears on a similar platform to the one Zelda is seen on when she calls out to Link to find her. There could be some shenanigans going on where Zelda's speaking through time, we don't know. I'm excited to find that part out. A second option, and a way cooler option, is that Zelda forges a new version of the sword in the past. This could open up a whole dynamic of giving Zelda a playable story as she works from her side to remake the Master Sword, and Link striving in his time to find her. We know that Link will begin his story in the sky, however, it says nothing of Zelda. As the fans have been hounding Nintendo for a playable Zelda since Tears of the Kingdom was first announced back in 2019, it's possible that we may get it in this capacity. One reason I have for thinking this is that Zelda seems to be given a task from what appears to be a rabbit fox looking Zonai guy. Zelda accepts a tear saying, "I know why I'm here. It's something only I can do." The tasks she must do may be to reforge the blade and get it to Link. As the male voice says, "Zelda, we rely upon your knight," and that legendary sword that he carries. He can't carry the sword as his version at this time is corroded. Whether Zelda helps forge a blade anew or sends a version from the past, the next question that needs to be answered is, how could Zelda actually get the sword to Link? As mentioned earlier, she could use her ability of time travel to send Link the blade. Pending she still has enough of her power to do that and has the skills to send the sword intentionally to his exact point in time, it's possible. And if a being such as Fi or Fi or similar still resided within this blade, she could in theory transport the coordinates of Zelda's position in time to Link to aid him in saving Zelda so that he can find her location. Another option, and my personal favorite, is that there is more than one pedestal in which to place a sword. Throughout the series, the sword has resided in several places across Hyrule. In Breath of the Wild, we see the Temple of Time built upon the Great Plateau, the place where, according to the lore of Breath of the Wild, the Kingdom of Hyrule reportedly began. If this is true, this is the place where the original goddess statue descended upon the land of Hyrule, where the original Temple of Time was built, and where Rauru built the Temple of Time as seen in Ocarina of Time, which is allegedly the same Temple of Time we see in Breath of the Wild. What we don't see is the Master Sword Chamber. This is one possible place for the sword to be found, and it could make sense as this is where Zelda is last seen with the sword according to the trailers. In this shot, she appears to be standing on a platform similar to the one that we see Link fly past in the trailer. Except this platform appears to be closer to the ground, near the Temple of Time when compared to Breath of the Wild's gameplay. She has the blade pointed down, and she could be inserting the blade in a pedestal there. It could be placed in a secret chamber below the Temple of Time, or in the sky above. The Pedestal of Time, the pedestal used in Skyward Sword, and the pedestal beneath the Statue of Goddess are all in this area. All this is to say that the new or repaired sword could be found in any one of its previous potential places of rest at any time. Zelda would be at no real foreseeable time crunch to get this task done, as she would be existing as an entity in the past, theoretically free from Ganon's minions. She basically could have all of the time in the world to repair or reforge the blade. Place it in the pedestal where Link could find it, and simply wait for the sword to appear in his time period, essentially having retroactively been there the whole time. And that is my theory on how Zelda could have gotten to the past, what she might be doing there, and how she could be helping Link from her side. Thank you all so much for watching. I do recognize that this theory is more speculation based than others. With the game so soon to come out and answers to take place, I'm excited to see if this game confirms some of the ideas in a similar way, or completely disproves them all, because I'm okay with that as well. I just like making the theories, I like speculating, and I like drawing conclusions from facts that we do have about the game and about the lore, and projecting that into the future for what that could mean for this series. I'm Hyrule Monkey, and I'll catch you all the next time I monkey around in Hyrule.